Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Chicago Fire's two-season missing character may be the key to reviving Carver and Violet's flailing romance. Violet, Hanako Greensmith, and Carver, Jake Lockett, continue to dance around each other in Chicago Fire. The two initially hooked up in Chicago Fire Season 12, with some hesitation on Violet's part. She was still grieving the loss of Chief Evan Hawkins, Jimmy Nicholas, and the idea of being with a firefighter was scary, knowing the loss she could face again. However, she gave into her feelings, and the two started to sneak around together, with Violet asking Carver to be her date to Brett's, Kara Kilmer, wedding. Things took a turn at the end, with Violet accidentally pushing Carver away. He took a 6-week furlough, and when he returned in Chicago Fire Season 13, he was dating Tori, Holly Hinchcliffe. Things came to a head when Violet made it clear that she had tried to reach out to Carver and found out that Tori had been reading and deleting his messages. It took time, but with Tori breaking up with Carver and leaving Chicago, there was hope that the Firehouse 51 couple would get back together. Based on the circumstances, it appears to be time for Andy Allo's Chicago Fire character Wendy Seeger to return after her 2-season absence. Seeger was last seen in Chicago Fire Season 11, and it's easy to forget that she had a brief fling with Carver. After all, Seeger's main interest was Kelly Severide, Taylor Kinney. Much to Stella Kidd's, Miranda Ray Mayo, dislike, and she turns up when she needs help with an arson investigation. Carver was more of a backup plan when it was clear that Stellaride wasn't breaking up, and it was before Violet, so more of a blip in the ocean. If Seeger returns and shows interest in Carver, it could spark some feelings for Violet. Right now, Violet is happy in her relationship with Flynn, Stephen Strait, but that doesn't mean he's the right man for her. After all, there remains a spark of chemistry between the Firehouse 51 couple, which indicates that they just need someone to push them back together. Stella Kidd making notice of this could further accelerate things. The problem for Chicago Fire is that Allo has been busy on other projects. She stars in Upload for Prime Video, which took time filming its third and then fourth and final season over the last few years. With Upload filming in Vancouver and Chicago Fire filming in Chicago, it would have been difficult to get schedules to work together. Now that Upload has finished, the door could be open for Allo's return. There has been no mention of Seeger throughout the last 2 seasons of Chicago Fire, so it's easy to explain her MIA status as simply being busy on other arson investigations. The show had already made it clear that OFI was understaffed, which was why Severide had been pulled in to help in Chicago Fire Season 11, so she could easily be on multiple investigations rather than in the office whenever someone from Firehouse 51 walks in. As it's a busy workplace, there is no need to explain where individual characters are outside of the regular Firehouse 51 members we expect to see. Showrunner Andrew Newman has said that the door is open for Allo to return to Chicago Fire when and if the time is right. All it takes is an OFI investigation that Seeger needs help on for her to ask Severide for help and then to bump into Carver while at Firehouse 51. This likely won't happen until Chicago Fire Season 14, assuming it happens though. For 2 seasons, Chicago Fire fans have been watching the slow burn, and now near extinguishing, of Sam Carver and Violet McCamey's romance. What started with sparks of tension and undeniable chemistry has fizzled out, leaving viewers wondering if the show ever intended to make them an official couple. With Carver's walls still up and Violet emotionally guarded after Hawkins' tragic death, it feels like their relationship is stuck in limbo. But what if the key to reigniting their connection lies in the return of a missing character? One who hasn't been seen in 2 seasons. That missing character is none other than Stella Kidd's former mentee, Kylie Estevez. Last seen working behind the scenes at the Firehouse as Bowden's assistant, Kylie brought an energy that lightened the weight of Station 51's high-stakes drama. But Kylie wasn't just a side character, she was deeply connected to the team, often serving as a bridge between personal and professional relationships. Her return could be exactly what's needed to push Carver and Violet past their stubbornness and back toward each other. Kylie's role in the Firehouse's emotional web. Kylie had a knack for knowing everything happening at 51, whether it was personal or professional drama. She was a natural matchmaker, unafraid to meddle just enough to make a difference. When she left, it created a subtle but noticeable shift. Without her light-hearted interference, some relationships lost their momentum. And that's exactly what's happened with Carver and Violet. Carver has always been an enigma. A tough guy with layers of vulnerability he refuses to acknowledge. He spent much of his time at 51 proving himself while also trying to outrun his past. Meanwhile, Violet, still healing from Hawkins' tragic loss, has been hesitant to embrace anything new. The two have danced around their attraction, but neither has been willing to make the first move. Enter Killy, a character who has never been one to sit back and let things unfold without a push in the right direction. How Kelly could reignite Carver and Violet's romance. Imagine Killy returning to 51, eager to get back into the swing of things. She immediately notices the unresolved tension between Carver and Violet, and being the intuitive person she is, she starts asking questions. Are you two dating yet, or are we still pretending there's nothing there? She'd say, completely unfiltered, just like the Killy fans remember. Of course, both Carver and Violet would protest, offering excuses about timing and work and whatever else they've been using to justify avoiding their feelings. But Killy wouldn't let them off that easy. She'd take matters into her own hands, whether it's casually pairing them up on calls, making sure they're on the same shift, or even planting the idea in Stella's head to offer some unsolicited advice. A forced confession and a wake-up call. But the real turning point would come when Killy orchestrates a scenario where Carver and Violet have no choice but to confront their emotions. Maybe it's during a team bonding event, something seemingly harmless like a game night at Molly's. Killy sets it up so that Carver and Violet are paired together for a game that forces them to answer revealing questions. What's one thing you wish you had the courage to say to someone in this room? Carver, caught off guard and not one for public displays, tries to brush it off, but Killy, ever the instigator, presses him. Come on, Carver, we all know you've got something to say. Faced with the moment, he finally lets his guard down, just a little. I wish I had the guts to tell Violet that she makes this job worth showing up for every day, he'd say, his voice quieter than usual but sincere. Violet, taken aback, would be forced to confront her own feelings instead of burying them, and Killy, she'd be watching it all unfold with a victorious grin, knowing she did her part. Killy's impact beyond romance. Killy's return wouldn't just serve as a catalyst for Carver and Violet, it would bring back a missing dynamic to 51. She had a unique relationship with Bowden, serving as both an assistant and an unofficial emotional compass for the firehouse. Her presence would remind Bowden of the importance of fostering personal growth in his firefighters, perhaps even encouraging him to push Carver to confront his own demons instead of running from them. She could also rekindle friendships with Ritter and Gallo, bringing back the lightheartedness that made the younger members of the firehouse so fun to watch. Her return could even lead to new subplots. Maybe she's training for a more active role in firefighting, stepping out from behind the desk to truly follow in Stella's footsteps. The missing link to a new era of 51. Chicago Fire thrives on the relationships between its characters, and Killy was an essential piece of that puzzle. Her return would bring back an energy that has been missing, especially for Carver and Violet. With her meddling, they could finally move past their awkward tension and into something real. And beyond their romance, her presence would serve as a reminder that 51 is more than just a firehouse, it's a family. So while fans wait for the next move in Carver and Violet's stalled romance, maybe the real solution isn't just another dramatic call or a near-death experience. Maybe what they need is Kylie Estevez, back in action, doing what she does best, bringing people together, whether they like it or not.